guys, and welcome back to At Home with Elisa. Today is a glorious day in the garden. It's about 20 degrees at the moment. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's been a really lovely day. I've just been pottering but trying to stay out of the sun because the sun's a bit harsh at this time of year. But now that the sun's cooled off a little bit, it's time for me to get into the garden and get some planting done. So today I wanted to take you with me. I am looking at just doing some repairs to one of the flooded gardens that I had all those ranunculus planted in. Obviously I don't have those there. So I'm looking to adjust the soil. I need to obviously build the soil up. So I was looking at getting a big trailer load of soil, but the ground's just a little bit wet for us to get a trailer in here at this point in time. So what I've done is I've just purchased some bag soil. I have some bag soil, I have cow manure, and I have chicken pellets, and I have organic compost. So I'm just going to layer the soil in just to sort of recover from where it flooded and washed out. But yes, tomatoes and corn are the main things that I'm planting today, and also some cucumbers as well. So this is the garden bed that I was talking about that did receive that bit of flood damage. Now having this one here in front of it, it actually stops a lot of the water coming down the slope and actually washing through. So this has worked really well, and I feel confident enough now to actually fill this up with soil again and plant into it. So in here I have asparagus, and can you see that little asparagus there? That's so cute. I've had 3 so far, and these are my first ever asparagus I've ever grown. So in this garden bed I've got a prostrate rosemary, which I will be leaving. I do have I have a self-seeded cosmos there that you can see. I've also got some hyacinth bulbs in, which I will dig out and just save those. Just here you can see that's one of the ranunculus that flowered, and that is the second one. I have a peony, which that is just brand new in the ground, and they reckon they take about 3 years to grow, so I'll just be leaving that alone. That is my second asparagus plant just there. It's the same age as the first one, however it did fare a lot worse during the floods. It had literally no soil around it, so we're just letting that recover. Then I've got my alpine strawberry, which is really good for making jams, and it really is a yummy treat in the garden. I need to stop eating them and start freezing them. But around it I also have some bulbs planted, so I'll have to dig those out as well, and I'll just keep those now for next year. And this is the section of the garden that I have already started to plant in. So I put those posts, the big stakes there, I put those there for tomatoes, which I will be planting today. I did plant right along the very back of the gate there. I did plant a whole heap of dwarf climbing beans, but I'm not sure if the birds got them or if they just didn't germinate. But I did see crimson rosellas down in here, and they have been getting into my garden, so I'm kind of thinking that they probably stole them. I've got another peony just here, which I again will be leaving in the ground as that's its first year as well. And just up the end there I've got glass gem corn. So that's the coloured corn, which is really good for popping. And I do have some cucamelon seedlings just here, so they managed to survive. And also one of the cucumber plants that I planted as well has managed to survive. So that's the garden bed that I'm looking to plant everything into. I did see I saw a female funnel web spider in that garden bed not long ago, so I'm really hoping that she's moved on, so I will be on the lookout for her. I think it's that time of year now where I really need to just start being aware of funnel webs and of also snakes as well in the garden. I haven't seen any snakes here, however our next door neighbours have seen a lot of red belly black snakes, and brown snakes as well, so just need to be careful at this time of year and just basically keep watching out around my feet. Okay, so I do have some seedlings that I'm looking to plant, and I also have some seeds that I'm looking to plant. The first seedling that I'm looking to plant is a cucumber crystal salad. Now this one seems to be going well, this one not so much, so I think I'll actually end up getting rid of this. I am doing a course at the moment. It's an online course, and it's with Sarah from In My Patch, and she is teaching me how to do basically like seed sowing. When I direct sow into the ground, I have no problem at all. But if I have to sow into something and actually baby it, and I have no problems with the germination, but it's getting from germination to plant into the garden, yeah, something kind of goes wrong. I stuff it up every single time. So I'm getting better. Like hello, I will call this a success. Still learning so much about vegetables, but I'm enjoying it. So, and I have a tiny little capsicum. I have 2 tiny little capsicums ready to plant. Black Russian tomato. I have gross Elisa tomatoes, and I also have some basil as well. So they say that you should always plant tomatoes surrounded by basil. So that's why I planted up basil, because I actually don't eat it. So I'm thinking the chickens will really enjoy it when they get to it. I don't like pesto or anything like that. And we were also actually gifted a whole heap of big red tomatoes. That's the name of them, big red tomato. So that was from a family friend. So I will be planting those out in the garden as well. I will be putting some in this garden bed here, but also some in raised garden beds. Let's just say that the trauma from having it flood and wash away is not completely healed from me. So I think I'll put one in ground, and if the weather does return, then I may lose that one, but the in-ground garden bed, the drainage should be a lot better, and that way I actually have maybe more of a chance of success this year. Last year the rain just made everything split, all the tomatoes split, so it wasn't very enjoyable. The other things that I'm looking at planting in this garden bed is crystal cucumber salad, and I got those from Urban Veggie Patch. The glass gem corn are actually from Urban Veggie Patch as well. Sorry. I also have some Market More cucumbers to plant. Crystal apple cucumbers. This is exciting. Rock melon. Yum. Again, I'll try with those dwarf climbing beans, because I really would love to see them grow. I'm a big bean lover. Fingers crossed they actually make it out of the garden, because I tend to have a really bad success rate with that. Spaghetti squash. I'm looking forward to trying those. That's the same capsicum that I have already got sprouted, so I'm just going to actually put some more in. Some beetroot. Now, I have tried beetroot numerous times. However, I'm hoping I have more chance with my direct sowing. So, fingers crossed this works. And last but not least, I have some sweet corn. So as I said, I already have that glass gem corn growing in the garden. The glass gem corn is beautiful to look at, but it's also a popping corn, so it's one that you would use for popping corn. I just want to see it because I think it's going to look really pretty as well. But the sweet corn is obviously one that you would use for your dinners. And I did make sure that I planted that round of glass gem corn was planted about, I think it was about 5 to 6 weeks ago, which will mean then that I shouldn't get any cross-pollination with this sweet corn. It will be a couple of meters away from each other, so probably about 3 meters separated by 3 meters. So that should be good as well, but having them mature a little bit earlier than what these ones will stop the cross-pollination, I think. Okay, so I need to go get my soil, and I need to top up these garden beds, dig up some bulbs, and then get planting. I've just got my organza bags. Got these from Urban Veggie Patch, and they're great for keeping bulbs in during the off season. So I'm going to dig all those bulbs up and put them in these. So this is actually the second time that I've added soil to this garden bed. I've been in an effort to obviously try and get the soil level up a little bit more. So I've just added in a huge bag of garden soil. This one here is organic compost and the yellow one is cow manure. I have been learning a lot about soil health from that course that I mentioned from Sarah from In My Patch, and she recommended for veggies obviously you want to have a real broad mix, so I've also added in that rock dust, and you'll see just shortly I will put in the chicken manure, pelletized chicken manure. Just here I'm actually using my daughter's, it's just a play rake that she uses to help me when we clean out the chicken coop, and it's so small that it's just perfect for spreading things around existing plants, so it's come in really handy. I decided to use it instead of using a larger rake because it made it so much easier. This is the pelletized chicken manure that I was just mentioning. I have spread it all over my whole entire garden, but I saved a little bit because I knew I had to do this garden. And I'm just laying out all of my seed packets and my seedlings so that I can work out exactly where I want to plant, and also so that I can record them down in my gardening journal, because I like to keep an idea of what I've actually planted in each year and then just adjust it for the next year. Okay, so I've just been through and I've laid out all of the veggies that I would like to plant. So I have some cucumbers at the back, a tomato seed there, a big patch of corn will go just in here. I have a tomato there, a cucumber at the back. The stakes will be tomatoes. I've got basil, which I will plant in the middle, cucumber, spaghetti squash, cucumber, rock melon. I'll do a little patch here of capsicum and beetroot, and then I've just got the beans at the very back here, which I'm going to sow all the way along the back as well. I'm so sorry for the camera angle here. I didn't realise that the asparagus was actually in the shot, sort of blocking everything, but I'm just planting out the sweet corn into the background there. This year I've really been making an effort to make sure that I label things in the garden because I'm a shocker for forgetting to write things down. So I've got little plastic labels everywhere in my garden at the moment, but it's working. Okay, so everything's finished now. I've got my mortgage lifter, my cucumber crystal salad planted there. I did a lovely patch of corn just in this area here, which that should be a really good patch of corn there. Quite a few planted, which was good. I've got a cucumber at the back and another tomato at the front, a black Russian. My alpine strawberry doesn't have any bulbs around it, though I am sure that come next year I'm sure a few will pop up. I hope I got them all, but you never know. And I have a gross lissy planted. I have cucumber at the back, a squash, basil in between the tomatoes, another tomato here, the big red, another cucumber at the very back there, my rock melon, which I'm really looking forward to. I just put these little covers on the seedlings just because I'm not sure if the birds were getting them, and I did notice a few slugs on some of the seedlings, so I want to make sure I put the pellets down. I want to make sure that obviously they don't disappear, so that's just some capsicum in there, and I planted a lovely crop of beetroot here, and just at the back here I obviously did that whole row of dwarf beans. So it's all planted. I did notice that that existing area of the garden bed that I had that already had the corn in it, that was quite dry. It was actually part of a garden path before, and I tried to remove as much of the blue metal stones as I could, but there is still quite a few in there, so I think I might have to just keep an eye on that with my watering and make sure that I keep the water up to it, because it was quite dry, even though I have already added in like the cow manure and the compost. Yeah, it still was quite dry. I've also added in some rock salt and of course that poultry manure as well. So hopefully it gives me a good crop. I will keep the water up to that over the next couple of weeks until they at least sprout. Once they do actually sprout up, what I'll do is I'll actually mulch that garden, just because we're on rainwater collection only here, so I have to be very, very cautious with my water usage. So if I can try and mulch things, obviously I'm not going to lose a lot to evaporation. So I'll mulch them as soon as everything sort of pops up a little bit. I'll start to mulch that. So I am very excited. I'm very hopeful. There's something about planting seeds and seedlings out. You're always very hopeful that you'll have a good harvest. Fingers crossed I do. I'm very excited about it. So hopefully I have some beautiful tomatoes, some corn. My family loves cucumbers as well. One of my daughters in particular loves cucumbers, so that's why I planted quite a few of them. So I'm really hoping for a lovely harvest. I do have another garden bed that I would like to plant out with some summer vegetables, but it's just not constructed as yet. So that will obviously be on hold, and that's why I tried to cram in quite a bit into this garden. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I really love getting out into the garden on a beautiful day, and we've had such lovely weather. I'm absolutely loving it. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.